Welcome to this tutorial for IT 426. I'm just going to simply show you how to create a simple access database. You can see that through SIMnet as well and through the multitude of tutorials that are out there. But I want to go through some of the things that hopefully will make this a little bit easier for you. So I'm going to create a blank database and I'm just going to save it wherever it tells me to save it. Now notice it brings up in a view that says new and ID. It automatically creates a name ID and only one field. If we go and right click on this and choose rename, we can rename it whatever we want. So let's just say we're doing a customer database or a customer table. I always recommend using cust ID. All of the fields should be beginning with CUST. That will help you when you have multitude of tables. So now we're going to click on a new field, click on the drop down. So what we want to do is we want to use either short text or long text. We're going to be doing last name and first name. You cannot do name, that's a reserved word. So let's just do short text and we'll do cust last name. And then again, we're going to do short text, cust first name. Now notice again, it says new down here. So I'm going to show you that once we save the table, I'm going to right click on it and see if it lets us save, which it does. And we'll call this customer. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into design view, the difference over here, and you can see I have cust ID, auto number, short text. If I want to change something, I can just click on the drop down arrow over here and change it to whatever I want. So let's go to cust ID. Notice this little key here. That means it's a primary key. It's set for you automatically. In these databases, we're just going to leave this exactly the way it is. And what will happen is the first one will be 1, the second one will be 2, third one 3, and so on and so forth. However, look down here, it says yes, no duplicates. That means your primary key cannot have duplicates. You do not ever want to have customers with the same cust ID. That's not going to happen. So right now we're good over here. We can't input any data in here, but we can change anything that we want in here. We can change the field size to whatever we want. Now, I highly recommend that you look at this here and notice last name is not required. Well, that's not really good if you're going to input a new customer, so let's make it required. And let's do the same thing for first name. So now we have that. Let's go back into our regular data view. And every time you change views, if you've made any changes, it's going to make you save the table. So yes, we do. So now we can actually create some database. So let's just go in here on some tables and we'll just put last name and I'll just call it 1, first name, and I'll call it 1. And notice that it automatically clicked on and changed it to 1. So the next customer is going to be 2. So as soon as I start taping it in, it automatically does that for us. Let's make that 2. And first name. So that takes care of that. We're going to save and close this database here, or rather table. And we'll close that. So now let's create a new table. To do that, just click on Create and click on Table. And let's just call this Invoices. So I'm going to rename it Invoices. And let's add some fields. So we're going to use the invoice number. So let's just put a number and we'll call it product. And then let's make sure this is short text. We'll change that when we get to the next part. So we're going to call this description. Now, one thing I want to caution you, once you start putting in data into the actual table itself, it will not let you change the data type. So I spelled description wrong. That's no big deal. So let's save this table now. And let's go into design view. So we have the product is a number. So let's just change it to short text. And that's, we can do that. And then we can change anything that we want over here. We can change it to required. We can change it to however way we want. That takes care of that. Let's go back and change views. Yes, we want to change it. And let's actually change the name of this field here. We can rename it, and we'll rename the other one in there. Let's call this invoice ID. And we're done. Let's go back to the other view. And let's rename this description properly. Takes care of that. Now we have to save it. So now we can start adding products in there. So let's just call it product 1 and description 1. And we'll add another one, product 2 and description 2. And we'll save the database. And I always seem to say database when I really mean table, so please forgive me when I do. Let's go back into our other view, and we have our primary key. We have our 2 invoices over here. So that's all you really need to do for the first assignment, which is the online lab. You're going to be creating 4 different tables. So all you do is just create the tables, name the fields. Remember, you have all these different data types in here. So let's see what happens if I try to change the data type to this. Depending upon what it is whether or not it'll let you. So let's change it to number. It does let you. Certain fields will not. So be very careful on that. So let's say that's a short text in here. Be very, very, very careful in there. Once you start putting data in and change the data type, you can have some serious issues in there. So that's it for this tutorial. Hopefully that it helps you. Please let me know if you have any questions at all.